Agriculture is a crucial sector for the region. The food security conversation is one of life and death in some communities. And according to the SADC Vulnerability Assessment Program, a little over 40 million people are said to be food insecure. Causes ranging from climate change, illness, human-animal conflict, and even natural disaster. So food security no longer becomes about access, but also about the backbone of stability and growth within the region. And in the studio, I'm joined by Mr. Domingos Gove, Director of Food, Agriculture and Natural Resource within the SADC Secretariat. And we're really here to discuss how we are advancing regional food systems in a meaningful way within the region. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Gove.
Thank you very much.
40 million people living or being said to be food insecure. And when you're looking at the general population of the region sitting at about 400 million, that seems to be an alarming number. How true is that? Or are the numbers real? Are the numbers true?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, the numbers are real. The 14, we are talking about almost 18% of the total population.
Precisely.
The numbers are really very high. And as you said, climate change is seated in our region.
Mm-hmm.
We have externalities like, for example, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine that is affecting the developing world, the conflicts within the region, and so forth. So this is the reality. But in relation to that, we are working at the regional level to address the issue of food insecurity. As you have indicated, food insecurity is low production and productivity, which means that we have low or little food for increased human population. And the second aspect that is related to food security is the capacity of individual households to acquire food, mainly in urban areas. So we are promoting the food production through a series of strategies that we have developed addressing all the agriculture inputs, namely seeds, irrigation, fertilizers, pesticides, transboundary animal and crop diseases. So we have all this framework approved by the member states, and we are working closely with the member states to domesticate them so that we have good quality seeds, we have access to fertilizers, pesticides, and we boost agriculture production and productivity. But at the same time, the countries really, they have to work hard to ensure that the individual citizens are able to acquire food if they are not able to produce.
Now, you've touched on a little bit of what I'm going to ask next. Let's look at the value chains and regional food systems. You've touched a little bit about that. Maybe just expand on that a little bit. How are we doing to, or what are we doing to strengthen these aspects of the sector?
Yes, we have been working closely with the countries from 16 different agriculture commodities that we did a profiling for the entire region. Member states identified 4 regional value chains, namely wheat, rice, soybean, and cotton as the most important regional value chains that we have to address, considering the financial impact that individual member states and the region they spend every year to buy this commodity from outside the world. And basically, based on that, we have mapped each of the 4 agriculture regional value chains, and we have identified clusters to facilitate the development of specific regional value chains for these 4 commodities. In relation to rice, we went beyond and we developed the regional rice development strategy.
Right.
Now we are proceeding in terms of addressing the feasibility studies for each of these value chains so that we can move in terms of identifying the funding sources and also the interested private sector to be able to develop these value chains in the region.
Now, let's take a look at interventions and looking back at some of the reasons why we may be in this position in the first place. Climate change is one of those things that we really don't have much of a handle on. We can't help it. So what kind of interventions are we looking at to try and mitigate as much as possible?
Yes, the SADC region is one of the regions that is heavily impacted by climate change impacts. The climate change impacts are seated in the SADC region. It can be cyclones, it can be drought, dry spells, transboundary animal disease, and so forth. So in order to address these challenges, we have been developing, for example, the regional irrigation policy. The regional irrigation policy is a powerful tool in relation to dry spells and droughts because it maximizes the amount of water that comes to our region so that we can use it to agriculture production. We have developed regional project proposals to boost agriculture irrigation mainly for smallholder farmers of the tune of $0.6 billion US. I'm coming from Rome yesterday, and we were attending the World Food Forum, and we were engaging with the private sector worldwide to identify interested partners and donors to support the implementation of the irrigation policy. In addition to that, we have developed seeds that are adapted or resistant to shortage of water. We have around 100 new crop seed varieties that we have developed in the region in partnership with private sector so that we can be able to use it as part of the resilient mechanisms to adapt.
That sounds very, very promising. And I think the next conversation would then be the advancement of technology. We know that AI is a prominent, subject within most conversations, but also understanding that the farming industry, agriculture has been one of the biggest beneficiaries within technology advancement. And I think the question would then be, what role does technology really bring and innovation? What role do they play in modernizing, right, farming within the region?
No, thank you. It's very critical because the number of people is increasing exponentially.
Exactly.
So we have to use the same land to produce more. And also, as you have indicated, the climate change are seated. So the technology and innovation, they have a role to increase productivity and also to increase resilience of agriculture. And in that context, I spoke about the irrigation policy as one of the ways, but also having resilient seeds and so on. So basically, the technology and innovation is mainly to increase productivity, to feed more people, but also to adapt to climate change that are seated in the region.
You're just coming from the 45th summit just a few weeks ago, and there are certain priorities that were outlined during that summit. Industrialization being one of them, energy transition. We just spoke about it in the last episode. And of course, agricultural transformation. And how do we merge and how do we synergize what the summit would like us to see within the next year with what is on the ground at the moment?
Yes, agricultural transformation is to move from subsistence agriculture to commercial agriculture.
Right.
Basically, that is transformation. And when we do transformation, intrinsically, we have to use a lot of energy. And because we are in a climate change world, we have to use green energy. And that's why the energy transition is critical for agricultural transformation because it's a critical element to transform agriculture. And we have to use that green energy. And agricultural transformation implies that agriculture should be part of the industrialization. And if you look into the SADC region, agriculture is the sector that is key for industrialization, according to our setup.
Right.
So it's really critical. This triangulation between energy, agriculture transformation, and industrialization.
And then let's talk about opportunities. Agriculture has always been male-dominated, although it's changing. What opportunities are there for the youth or even women who are looking into, maybe visiting or wanting to tap into the sector?
I mean, it's the reality. Women in terms of our population are around 40 to 50 and youth around 6 or 70% of our population.
Mm-hmm.
The only way for us to move in a sustainable way in agricultural transformation is to adequately engage women and youth. Without these two components, agriculture will hardly be sustainable.
Especially because the youth feel like agriculture is a boring sector, right? For the most part.
And they are right. But we have to look agriculture, as you said, when connecting and linking with the technology and the innovation.
Right.
And I think there the youth are the prime layer that we should use to boost agriculture. They have the know-how, they have the passion with technology, and they can use it to transform agriculture.
Now, we're talking youth and women, but let's now talk about, the community at large, the on-the-ground people, because we know that agriculture is in the hands of the people in reality. How do we ensure that this transformation that we're talking about, this transformation that we're driving towards, we really put it in the hands of the people, in communities, in families? How do we merge and integrate the two?
No, it's critical. I mean, agriculture is the sector of the poor.
Yes.
It's the sector of the communities. And when we look into that, we really have to empower the poor of the poorest to have access to land. That is first thing. And second thing is to give access to them agricultural inputs, be it seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and whatever. And third is to capacitate them through extension. And fourth, give them access to funding and then access to trade or to trade.
Mr. Gove, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your insights. Mr. Gove, Mr. Domingos Gove, Director of Food, Agriculture and Natural Resources within the SADC Secretariat, as we unpack really how the agriculture sector envisions transformation or envisions transformative ways of bringing, food security to the region. As we embark on this journey, we also want to hear your voice, your thoughts, and feedback on the topics we'll be talking about. So please connect with us on our various platforms. There is always more to unpack, discover, and celebrate within this rich region of SADC.